Call this regular board meeting to order, and Mrs. Clemenzi has agreed to do our pledge and prayer.
Let's bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, please be with us this morning. Please be with the families of the children and the children that we saw this morning in our expulsion hearings. Give them peace and a path forward. Please be with the family of TJ Snyder in our community in Bronson that suffered such a loss when we lost him, but he's in your arms now. Please, Lord, be with us during this Lenten season and remember the sacrifices that you made for us, and be with us during this meeting today to make the right decisions in your name. In the Lord's name, amen.
Amen.
Dress the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Clemenzi. Board, we're going to adopt the agenda. There will be one change. If you look at item 6, that will not, we'll be omitting item 6. So if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda with the omission of 6.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Why are we omitting that?
Mayor Parton called and he was having some issues and could not make it to come and present.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. And next, we will go to superintendent highlights. Welcome, everybody. I feel like I've been here hours already.
Exactly.
all right. At this point in time, so we're happy to have our principal from Williston Elementary and AP, so Ricky Richardson, so Miss Cecily Smith, and they're here to kind of present. So I welcome you to the podium.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sick, so I'm being over being sick, so I sound funny. Sorry. So we wanted to present today, I'm Ricky Richardson, this is Cecily Smith. Resiliency at West through our cultural well-being education. We have a little bit different spin on the way we present our special area one day a week at West, and we've had a lot of success with it. So we wanted to talk about that. So Monday, we use it on all day Monday through special area. We see all of our school at one time, on one day. So it's almost like we're having assemblies all day on Monday. Our special area is done where half the grade level comes at one time, and then we see the other half the next 45-minute block. So we get to see all kids at one time or all kids on our campus on one day. So we can get all important information to them on one day, which is really great. So Mondays are used to teach immediate social well-being and current events or issues on campus. We also use it to teach a lot of our required instruction that we have to teach through the state, and we use it to teach our resiliency instruction. So for immediate response to campus needs, some examples are recurring behavior that we're having. If there's an issue on the soccer field that we're seeing a lot throughout the week through different grade levels, we can address it then. I'm sure if you have a kid in elementary school age, you remember the nice cut G, where kids would come up and hit each other in the back of the neck. Little things like that we can all address it on one day. We were also having a lot of kids not understanding the power of their words. And so Deputy Wells and I will go down and we'll do a day on threat assessment and the language that you can use and what your words mean, and they have power. And we have them sign a little compact that they won't say negative things about each other. We also use that day for if there's an event in the community that's happening that's coming over onto our campus, we can address it that day. Or we can just be proactive. If we hear a lot of nitpicking throughout the week, that next Monday we'll use that day to do like a kindness activity or a compliment activity, and it really seems to be working. So some of our campus needs, these are some examples. We've done a Be Kind presentation where we show the kids the data We have a pickup in our pre-referrals between noon and 2, and so we brought it before the kids and kind of asked their opinion, like, what do you think's going on between noon and 2? How can we improve this? Just to kind of get the kids buy-in. That's an example of one of our complement activities. We've also done an Avid binder, we call it, Avid binder hospital, and they bring their binders and we fix them up and they put the new things in them that they need. A lot of things that teachers don't have time to do in their classrooms, but we can do it then. We we go over school rules at the beginning of the year, bus rules, playground rules, how they change. We also do child lures, which unfortunately was brought to our attention a few years ago that needed to be done because of an incident we had on our campus. And so myself and our guidance counselor go and present that whole day. And if child lures is a program that the sheriff's department used to teach, and it talks about internet safety and child safety and what you need to do if you are being abused, and it's a very emotional day on our campus, but it's definitely needed. We also celebrate things like Literacy Week and do different big projects with the kids. Again, things that teachers don't always have time to do in their classrooms, that we can fit it in that day. We do a lot of our required instruction. We talk about Veterans Day, we do Patriots Day, we do a big presentation on all that. The kids learn songs. Coach teaches them songs. It's great. Coach and Kaylee, our guidance counselor, they usually teach that day. And then on some important topics like the child lures or the threat assessments, I come down and teach that day instead with our guidance counselor, just so I know what's being said. And Deputy Wells' presence is always great to have on certain topics. Some more required instruction. We do Red Ribbon Week, we do cyber bullying, the Holocaust, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We teach resiliency through this day too. Our guidance counselor is also our resiliency person at our representative at our school. She does a great job. She's made posters. The kids do Avid one-pagers on the topics. They do different projects with the different words that we have. This is Coach's song, and she wanted you guys to be able to hear her song. So I told her I would add it to the presentation.
You got a joke with it?
About what actually the song, Shake It Off, Don't Let That Guy Get You Down. What is your first opinion of the meaning of that song? So like, I think it means when like someone's hurting your feelings or making fun of you, that you just drop it and just don't let
So you have to let Coach know that, yes, you did see that. But she does do little things like that with them. We did a big data day for critical thinking, resiliency word, and I presented to the whole school and showed them their data from our diagnostic 2 and our PM2, and like showed them what it meant and showed them where we stand in the district with the other schools, and really gave them the why to what they're doing and what do we do with that data, just to try to get their buy-in. And they were pumped. They really bought into the whole thing. So next year, Cecily and I talked about it, we're going to do one before they take the PM2 to kind of pump them up, and then we'll do one after they take it so they can see their results. But they really bought in that day. They made goals. You can see on the next slide. They talked about their academic goals, long-term and short-term, and they all made their goals. We also do resiliency with our student of the month. The teachers, we tell them to pick a student that represents that, really represents that word that month. They get shout out in the morning over the intercom if they're showing that type of behavior, and then they also get to put their star in the cafeteria. They get some Red Devil dollars. We also do it with our faculty. So we talk about the words that are coming up. We give a staff member an award that has shown that type of behavior. Yesterday we awarded some more for that, and those are some other past months that have won. And that wraps up our Mondays. Does anybody have any questions on our Mondays?
Sorry.
Nope, go.
No, my family will tell you, one of my favorite words is regroup. Let's regroup. So I love starting out your week like this, and especially just in case something happens in the world or whatever's happening in our community, to have your finger on it and address it as a group, I think is a great idea.
We really have found that it is very beneficial, and our teachers, they won't even come to us a lot of times. They'll just go straight to coach, and they'll be like, hey, this is happening in my classroom at time. Can you talk to the kids about it? Yesterday, what did somebody say? Yeah, I can't, there was a slang or something that they were using. It didn't make any sense to me, but I said, well, make sure to talk about it with coach, because they'll go over and they're like, oh, I already did. And coach was like, yep, handling it on Monday. So it's a note on our campus that that's what our Mondays are used for, and it does work. When we were having the issue with kickball one year, we sat them all down, we talked about it, and we got to the problem was the kids at recess weren't following coach's kickball rules. They were doing their classroom kickball rules, which weren't the same, and it was causing all these issues. So we made posters of all the sports rules, hung them up there at the recess, and we went outside with them during Mondays, and we played a game like how it should be played, and we didn't have another problem the rest of the year. So it's really just being able to attack those issues head on right when they happen, and it's very beneficial.
I've noticed, like I said, the dialogue, opening up the dialogue at school, and brings it in a home, and, kind of brings it for the parents to interact, and some stuff that, we don't even know about. It kind of fosters an environment to where the kids feel open to talk about it.
Right.
And it really has helped.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate what y'all do.
Yeah, great program, thank you.
It's a great program, and I especially love hearing that you're sharing all that data with the kids, because if they don't understand where they're going, why are they going to put in the effort? And they're old enough. And that's
what we
You're
saw.
allowing them
We
to
were
see it.
looking at the data, Cecily and I, and we were like, this kid went backwards. There's no way they've lost information. They just didn't care.
Right.
And so that led us to, hey, we need to do this on Mondays. And then we saw how beneficial it was and how much the kids were buying in. And we were like, okay, next year, let's do it before they take the test, and then we'll show them the results afterwards. So it's a growing process every year with our Mondays, and we learn so much and what we need to add. And
That's wonderful. Thank you for all the extra hard work, too, and the presentation.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you. And Mr. Superintendent, item 7, 401K.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm sorry, Ms. Kaylee and several others are at a recruitment event, so otherwise she would be here to present. So back in 2010, late 10 and early 11, so Justin Hardy spearheaded, so we went out for proposals and we would change from Allianz to John Hancock. And at this time, Mr. Hardy has stepped away to a different position, and no longer is involved. And so in reaching out to him, so have an opportunity to bring some better service to our employees that participate in the 401K. So my recommendation is to make an agent change. So the only thing that they will see as far as is just the change on their statement. So, but also having somebody who's in each of our communities to provide better service. So, and that's Mr. Etheridge, who's here with Capital City Investment and has a relationship with John Hancock. So that is the only thing that will be changing, is just the agent of record.
Moving from a Seminole to a Gator, I like it. Just kidding. Any Seminoles out there, I'm sorry.
And also, is there any positive thing you want to tell us about it, or anything you want to mention? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Come on up.
Yeah.
I certainly appreciate Superintendent Coward allowing me to come this morning and have this opportunity to truly serve the employees of the school board, which, to me is not something that I would take lightly and take very seriously. As Mrs. Richardson mentioned, and Ms. Boyle as well, you know, data is very important, and you have to know where you're going and then how to get there, right? And so I think education and having that in front of people a lot is going to help them succeed better. And when we're trying to plan for retirement, Social Security is there, the Florida retirement system is there, but there's going to be a bit of a gap whenever someone leaves employment to go into retirement that they have to make up for. And so that's what a supplemental retirement plan like the 401k is going to be able to provide. But I believe that with a little bit more of an education, we can get a higher participation rate and hopefully a higher contribution rate to the 401k plan through county employees with the school board, and be able to make that retirement more of a success and less of a difference when they leave employment and go into retirement. Our goal in retirement planning is someone's way of life stays exactly the same. That they're not going to leave employment and take a step back because their retirement income is less than it was when they were working. We want it to be the same, if not more, and having a supplemental retirement plan such as this is what's going to be able to make that a reality. So in meeting with Superintendent Cower and Mrs. Wade a few weeks ago, you know, one of the main things that I wanted to offer was being able to personally, or our company, do the enrollments. When someone does get hired or decide that they want to participate in the 401k plan, as opposed to the current situation whenever someone from Human Resources is helping them, I think that we can provide more education in doing the enrollment personally. And so therefore giving them more of a chance to succeed and keeping their way of life the same when they transition from employment to retirement. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. But really, as Superintendent Cower mentioned, nothing changes. The plan stays the same. Everyone's investments stay the same. Contribution rates stay the same. The only thing that will change is the name and phone number on the statement so they get forwarded.
Mr. Etheridge, are you able to take appointments outside of the schools? Are you able to go to the schools and take appointments with the teachers or any staff?
Yeah, I think both are certainly an option. So whatever the preference is for the staff member that would like to meet. So obviously any communication that they get or correspondence from John Hancock would have my information on there at that time as well as a statement. So they're able to reach out and schedule appointments, whether on campus or in one of my offices. I cover Levy, Gilchrist, Suwannee, and Dixie County for Capital City Investments. So I cover the 8 Capital City Bank offices in those 4 counties. 3 of them obviously being here in Levy County.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions?
We appreciate having somebody we can talk to and
Yeah.
reach out to. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you for having me.
This is an actionable item, so I'm looking for a motion.
Motion and a
I
second.
make the motion to approve.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Etheridge.
Thank you very much. And we will move on to item 8.1, the playground. Mr. Eastman?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to kind of talk about the bid sheet before we go forward and look at it. I do want to mention that we sent this bid out to about 5 different vendors. 3 of them you see returned the bid. We had another one, School Specialty and Lakeshore Learning reached out and wanted a bid. School Specialty did not submit a bid because they said they were going to go through Topline, so they're like, Topline's going to give you a better price than we could, so that's why they did not submit a bid back. If you look at the bid sheet, it can be kind of confusing a little bit. We tried to put on there the best we could, the minimum unit of each vendor, what it costs, and then the maximum. What you'll see in the presentation is we did not put Topline in there because their cheapest was about $2,000 more than what you'll see of the other options we have when we go through it. There's a little bit of a budget of what we're trying to spend so we can get all 4 units at a certain rate. I want to say all these include rubber mulch and borders. Every one that you'll see, there's going to be some images that you'll look at, and you'll actually see that as a picture to kind of give you a visual. I also want to make a note on the installation. That's not an additional cost. That is inside the cost of the total unit. I think we can kind of start going through a little bit. might be something I'll make a note of. I did put on there 2 of those options are slightly over. There's only 1 on each game time and state play that are over our budget. But it depends what the schools pick at each location of what we can afford overall to help that out. So it just kind of depends what each school picks on the overall budget.
Also, I want to ask too, I don't remember who bid last time when we decided to bring this back, but the person did they come back and bid again?
It was game time.
It was game time. Okay,
yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
And both of them are going to have multiple color options. So today, what we're looking for when we go through it is for between game time and AAA for y'all to decide which one we want. After that, I'm going to go to the schools and take those options that vendor provided and let the principals choose what they want at their school with the colors they want. The last slide on each of game time and AAA will show kind of all the colors that's available. But if you want to go through the first one, some of them are multiple pictures, they're just different angles. This one is kind of the top of the price range. I think it's the most expensive one that is for game time, but the most expensive overall that we chose that we could afford. I've only got 1 picture of that. I put the ages up there just to help out because I know Joyce Bullock's got some smaller kids compared to the Williston L and G. Flannel and Yankeetown. The next one, they're just going through, there's 2 pictures I believe here of different angles of the playground to look at. And that's in the lower area of the budget. I think you're going to see 6 options at game time and 4 at AAA state play. Some of the game time ones are a little smaller than what you're going to see at AAA. I think AAA's got a little bit bigger of a playground. That's also the rubber mulch you'll see in the borders that will be at all the locations once the playground's installed.
Do any of our schools have relationships with, have used either of these 2?
So we've never used game time. AAA state of play, Joyce Bullock, Miss Patty over there, anytime she's had extra money, that's who she's used. Robert Duckler, the installer, actually recently installed Bronson Elementary's playground that they had from the ESE department. We've got experience using him, and he's been really good in the information he has.
Do they all have the same warranty?
AAA, they said they've used.
Do you know
I don't know. I don't know that offhand. I'll have to check.
how many years it is?
Warranty is.
Okay, thank you.
So basically, it's, each school will get to pick one of these, correct?
Yes, depending on which vendor, there's whatever vendor y'all choose, and then one of those options from that vendor.
Okay.
This is still game times. Some of those, I think the next one, it's just kind of small. There's only 2 choices there, so it depends how much you want to get from it and what the principals want at the schools.
Right.
These are the color options they would pick. They could choose the metal poles, the plastic, everything has a color they can choose from, down to the handles of the little rock climbing thing and the metal stands that you're standing on. That's kind of stating the same thing as the first one did, but this is more or less for AAA. I included this, the capacity. I didn't have anything from game time to put on the capacity. They're saying 25 to 35 kids. Principals can probably speak to that better than I can. I'm not sure if that seems like a lot.
Maybe they were really tiny.
Maybe closer to 5-year-old.
Yeah.
That's one of the lower options, the lowest option we have from AAA. And then it kind of goes up from there. I think the last 2 at AAA are kind of the bigger options.
Now, I don't know if this is a question you can answer, but I know like Joyce Bullock, they had like the Jingle Bell Jog a couple of years ago and this year, and they've raised money for a playground. Are they able with their own funding to piggyback any of this? Or is that the question that, like, if,
We could possibly.
I don't know, Mal,
We can have a conversation and see,
right,
so yes.
yeah, because I knew that they do have some money that raised, that Patty's raised and stuff, different stuff.
Any other questions y'all have?
Did any of the companies speak about a cover?
There's options to do covers.
I know
That's not something we've looked into, but I know Topline actually, I think, goes into that, but they all 3, I believe, have options to where if you want to do a cover, you could, but
Just thinking the longevity and the sun for the little ones.
Right.
What's the, I think something was said about warranty. What is kind of the lifespan of a, is there any kind of documentation or anything that's 10 years or?
I don't recall, but I do know they're pretty much all similar from what the
Right.
guys told me.
Yeah.
Again, like you're talking about too, is
Right.
the fade and
Right.
the sun's gonna wear it out over
Right.
time.
Right.
Um,
I wasn't sure, you know, just thinking long-term, you know,
Yeah.
before the stuff is out of compliant or whatever, you know.
So today we're deciding between, sorry, go ahead.
No,
You-
no,
Today we're deciding between Game Time and AAA, that's what we're voting on,
that's all
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All I can see are broken arms on a couple of these, from personal experience. I mean, some of them, just the drop, I don't ever understand who designs these, some of these, because there's just such a long drop. So some are definitely better than others, in my opinion.
And the installation is included in those final prices.
Yes, and what you're seeing on the installation was for the most expensive unit of each one of those. The AAA one that you see, the $14,999, is actually for the equipment and the borders and mulch, and it's for the most expensive unit. So if you go with the smaller unit, it's not as much for installation on both of those.
But ultimately, it's included in that final price.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So you said Williston has had used AAA before?
Yes, ma'am. Joyce Bullock's used them multiple times, and the installer that would be installing it, and then we've also used the installer at Bronson Elementary, and I believe AAA might have been, I'm not 100% sure who ESE used on that, if they provided that equipment, but the installer was Robert Duckler that's done everything at Joyce.
What about Game Time?
We've never used them.
And they're from where?
I think they're farther south. Don't have that right offhand.
To Barry or Sanford area, I think.
Deltona, I believe.
Deltona.
And where's AAA from?
AAA's out of Indiana.
Indiana, so
But
way out there.
Duckler is from, the installer's from this local area. Yeah, I think he previously worked in Citrus County, I believe, and he's done a lot of work. He worked for them and started installing playgrounds within the district.
So I know you gave us the bid tabulation, but what is your recommendation?
If I had to say my recommendation, I would say AAA State of Play just off of the 4 options they have. I feel like there are 4 decent options to choose from. I feel like there's a couple at Game Time or not as big units that if you're trying to get the most for your money, I would.
That's what we want, the most for our money.
And I agree with Mrs. Clemenza. Some of these that say ages 2 to 12, when the community in Cedar Key raised all the money for those 2 playgrounds, the installer there was very, very specific about ages and how high things were and the capability of the little ones being able to hang for a certain amount of time with, I mean, there was a lot. 2 to 12 years old, I see broken arms too. But there again, the principals, you know, can look at how high they want particular items. I mean, can they, or like once we pick something as a board today, the height, everything remains the same and that's what they have to go with? Or can they pick and choose?
They pick and choose these options, correct?
Or pick and choose items.
Yeah, say we go with AAA or whatever. It would
It's
be-
breaking it
The board is
down.
picking the vendor, and then
Right.
the principals are gonna have
Correct.
the opportunity to pick, so which piece of playground equipment.
Which piece?
Yes.
I did a quick search on Google for the warranties. Game Time warranty for commercial playground equipment is 3-year limited warranty on Salamix rubber and C-springs, 1-year limited warranty on all other Game Time products. AAA, they have a limited 15-year warranty on all rigid steel playground components, decks, steps, moldments, rotationally molded and sheet plastic components, plastic lumber, roof panels, and stainless steel slides except as otherwise specified below, which I didn't get into all the
Right, that's
That's
big difference, yeah.
big
AAA.
difference.
I don't have any data to back up what I'm gonna say, but just from experience, you're gonna get over 15 years of use. I mean, we have playground equipment that's, you know, a lot longer than that. And so I feel like even with the stuff that's the plastic, I think you'll have, you know, well over 15 years of use. Just from our experience, they're moving.
Yeah. I mean, Wilson Elementary, isn't that's the original public equipment, isn't it? And my brother was one of the first ones there, and he just turned 40 last week, so he was 8 years old. So about 32 years they've been there.
There was a big wooden, well, at Williston now, yes, at Joyce Bullitt, there used to be a big wooden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Project Playground, we raised money for it.
Yeah.
I remember soup can labels
It's
and all
different
that.
depending on the material, but I don't think, and one to the other, I don't think you're gonna see a difference in lifespan. Just on this type of equipment, I think you easily get 15 years.
Play.
AAA, I make the motion, we go with AAA.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for the AAA. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes for AAA.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eastman. Okay, at this point, if there is anyone in the audience that would like to come up to the podium and have a time for public comments?
Is that you, Lisa?
Any emails, Miss Angela?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, we will move on from there and go to approval of the minutes for February 13th, 24 meetings. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion about the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes for the approval of the minutes. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Item 11, and I'll start with Mrs. Brookins.
Everything's been answered, and I am just thrilled to see that Stacy Drummond is coming back as assistant principal to Chiefland Middle High School, and that's a wonderful decision. And that's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Brookins. Mr. Whitehurst.
All my questions are answered. Welcome Leah Boyd, the new assistant principal at Wilson High School. So, other than that, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehurst. Mrs. Clemenzi.
All my questions were answered.
Thank you, Mrs. Clemenzi. Mr. Superintendent and I spoke as well, and I just wanted to verify that DOA contract on 11.5. Were there just that change that we talked about was the
Yes,
only
ma'am.
one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all my questions have been answered. Do I have a motion for the exception of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Move on to the finance items, 12.1.
Move to approve the finance item.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or questions on finance? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes for 12.1 on the finance. Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, Madam Chair. Just like to thank Ms. Richardson and Ms. Smith being here today. So appreciate what they're bringing, especially with the resiliency stuff. It's a big focus. So coming out of the First Lady and trying to help our kids develop grit, develop ways of coping. And as we have different opportunities where students come before us, so and maybe some of the things you see that we've got a lot of people trying to work with our students and provide some opportunities. So I definitely appreciate them presenting on that and it making it a focus at Williston L. Over the course, we're finishing up CTE month, so the Board of County Commissioners adopted the proclamation so that you all get adopted on the 13th. And just appreciate Ms. Taylor's hard work and all of our CTE teachers. So, I think over the course of the last 3 to 4 weeks, so we've eaten enough cakes and different things, so or being able to help support fishing tournaments. So this board's very, very giving, and appreciate you guys going and helping DECA, who will be representing Cedar Key out at the national conference. So competing in California soon. We had our data information, so last meeting, as we see and as we continue moving down the road, so appreciate what Ms. Lewis brings to that, and what's helping drive our assessment and accountability and making sure. So legislative season is fastly approaching. I think there's about 8 or 9 days left in session, so if everything goes according to plan, the budget should be delivered on the 5th. I did see last night, so that they've already started budget conferences and going back and forth with that. Had an opportunity, all of you all, to see Representative Clemens and Senator Perry on Friday, but just trying to stay in touch with them and their staff and helping move our project along with that. So appreciate you guys on what and you know, our people can't have, you know, they've got to have good teams that help them at their school level, and conversely, so we've got to have a good team here to help drive that. So appreciate your efforts in supporting our students and their endeavors.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Mrs. Brookins, would you like to start?
Great things are happening at Chiefville Middle High School. The FFA poultry team won state. Congratulations to Callie Knapp and Carson Baker. Callie's a valedictorian and Carson's a salutatorian. I think that's wonderful. They let me know that Angel Poole placed 4th in state in weightlifting, so our weightlifting team's just making great strides, and that's wonderful. The SGA placed 3rd in the state in their project book category, which is, you know, they've been working on. And then the cornhole was extremely successful, fun, great time, and made lots of good money for FFA. Thank you.
Mrs. Brookins. Mr. Whitehurst.
Good morning. I appreciate Ms. Smith and Ms. Richardson to come out and get a presentation. And appreciate all the hard work at Wilson Elementary. I know I see it every day with the kids, and I appreciate y'all hard work and at the high school and the Joyce Bullock. Certainly glad that I know some of the playground equipment, you know, is getting old, so I'm glad that, you know, the effort that Chris put in and the rest of us and Brandon and everybody to try to get that up to date, because like I said, there's certainly not before it's needed. Williston High School basketball team, they qualified for Final Four. They'll be playing Friday for a chance to go on to, if they win that night, they'll go on Saturday to play for state and maybe make it back to back. So certainly proud of them. And also I was able to attend, Cameron's not here, won't tell us thunder. They brought some Food Fest on Friday and had a good time. It's just always good to see all the kids participating and you know, helping out, and it was just a good time. So appreciate all I did across the county. And
It was quite the entertainment at the end of the evening.
oh yeah, for sure. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehurst. Mrs. Clemency.
Good things going on in Yankeetown as well. We had an open kindergarten spot that was filled in the nick of time, so that's great. And congratulations to Mackenzie St. John, who competed in the regional spelling bee contest in Tallahassee and placed 6th, which is a very big deal. And I think I said this last time, but that was the first time Yankeetown's had a winner, a district winner, so super exciting. And we have a certified ag teacher also, so great things going on in Yankeetown. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Clemency. I know there's working hard in Cedar Key. Last night we had the dinners, the hospitality dinners, and DECA. So they served smoked turkey and pulled pork, and I didn't have to cook. So that was good, and it was really good. And again, I appreciate the board sponsoring DECA. It's a great leadership tool for the kids. I know AVID has a lot of great concepts, but this DECA, also watching these kids and then hearing them and driving them back and forth, just hearing the experiences that they have with so many other students, it's a good thing. And thank you very much for the last meeting, for allowing me to be gone and be with my family. Appreciate the prayers. That was much needed, so I hated to miss, but I appreciate the support by the board and everybody, very much so.
Cameron didn't screw it up too bad.
Didn't? Keep him in line. And yes, I will make mention that Mr. Breezy sitting in the back through the game for myself and Megan Wooten, our team. He let us win so that we would move on. Right, Mr. Breezy?
I just said I threw the bag.
It's great fun. I mean, there's the older ones. It's kind of hard when you have to play against the pros, I will say that. So, but it is what it is. It's for a good cause. And thank you for the presentation. I would love to visit a Monday. I'd love to watch that happening in person. I think that would be such a great experience. And look forward to our meeting down in Williston for our visit. So we'll head there next. And that's all I have. If there isn't any other business, meeting is adjourned.